You really expect me to do what? Ethan Brooks froze mid-step, coffee cup trembling slightly in his hand as Olivia Carter's sharp gaze bore into him across the glass-walled office. Olivia, the formidable CEO of one of the fastest-growing tech startups in Silicon Valley, leaned casually against her sleek mahogany desk, a hint of a challenging smirk playing on her lips. "Ethan," she said, her tone measured but unmistakably commanding, "I need you to pretend to be my husband for the Baker Tech Gala tomorrow night. Just 24 hours. Think of it as professional teamwork with a little personal touch." Ethan blinked, unsure if he'd misheard, but the reality of the request sank in quickly, and his mind raced with questions he wasn't sure he wanted answers to. He had been working at Carter Innovations for 3 years, quietly keeping his personal life separate from the high-powered, fast-moving environment, and now here she was, asking him to step into a role he never imagined. "Olivia, I'm a single dad," he said carefully, his voice tinged with disbelief and an instinct to maintain boundaries. "I have responsibilities, and I don't think, exactly," she interrupted smoothly, "which is why you're perfect. Nobody will suspect a thing, and honestly, you need the networking exposure just as much as I do. Consider it mutually beneficial." Her words were sharp but coated with a persuasive charm that made it hard to argue against. Ethan ran a hand through his hair, feeling the weight of her proposal and the unusual logic behind it. 24 hours, she said. He couldn't help but imagine the impossible scenario of standing on a ballroom floor, arm in arm with Olivia, facing a crowd of influential investors, all while keeping up a pretense that felt almost absurd. He knew it would be awkward, he knew it would be exhausting, but there was something else there too, a strange, thrilling possibility that maybe stepping out of his comfort zone could open doors he didn't even know existed. "Okay," he said finally, his voice steady, masking the nervous flutter in his chest. "I'll do it. But only because it's one night, and because you owe me a favor for pulling me into this chaos." Olivia's smirk widened, satisfaction evident as she tapped a finger on the edge of her desk. "Deal," she said, her eyes sparkling with mischief and strategy. "Tomorrow night, we show them. A perfect marriage, Ethan, even if it's just for show. Don't worry, I'll coach you through every detail." Ethan nodded, swallowing a mixture of apprehension and curiosity as he considered the bizarre adventure that awaited him. He could already picture the glimmering chandeliers of the gala hall, the hum of polite conversation, the weight of expectation pressing lightly on his shoulders. And yet, beneath the anxiety, there was an undeniable thrill, the kind that comes when life throws you into a situation so out of the ordinary that it promises change, growth, and perhaps, something entirely unexpected. As he walked out of Olivia's office, Ethan felt a flicker of excitement mixed with disbelief. He was about to step into a world of elegance, intrigue, and pretense, a single dad pretending to be someone's husband, and the thought, absurd as it seemed, sent a shiver of anticipation down his spine. Tomorrow night would be one night, Olivia had said, but already he could sense that the story was just beginning, that the sparks of curiosity and unspoken connection had been ignited, and that the next 24 hours would challenge everything he thought he knew about work, life, and perhaps even love. Ethan spent the rest of the afternoon preparing for the unusual assignment, carefully selecting a navy blue suit that was both formal and approachable, polishing his shoes until they gleamed under the office lights, and rehearsing polite smiles and small talk in front of his apartment mirror. Olivia, meanwhile, had meticulously planned the entire evening, sending a detailed itinerary via email that included arrival times, seating arrangements, and tips for social interactions, leaving nothing to chance. When Ethan arrived at her penthouse later that evening, the city skyline stretching behind her floor-to-ceiling windows, he found Olivia waiting with a sense of calm control that made the absurdity of the situation feel almost credible. She handed him a glass of sparkling water and gave a quick, pointed glance at his tie, ensuring every detail matched her vision of a flawless public appearance. "Remember," she said in a tone that was both firm and encouraging, "confidence is key. Act natural, be polite, and follow my lead. We are presenting ourselves as a perfect team, and I will guide you through every interaction." Ethan nodded, feeling a mixture of tension and curiosity as he adjusted his cufflinks and followed her into the elevator that would take them down to the lobby and eventually to the gala. The ride was silent except for the soft hum of the elevator, and Ethan could feel the anticipation building with each floor they descended. Once they arrived, Olivia led him through a series of rehearsals, walking him through introductions, handshakes, and conversation starters with an almost theatrical precision, each gesture choreographed to present an air of effortless sophistication. Ethan absorbed the instructions, practicing small smiles and nods, noting the subtle ways Olivia shifted her posture to convey confidence and ease. They stepped out into the cool night air, the city lights reflecting off the polished marble of the hotel entrance, and Ethan realized how dramatically different this world was from his daily routine of school drop-offs, conference calls, and managing household errands. Olivia flagged a valet to park their car and guided Ethan with a steady hand through the crowd of arriving guests, introducing him with a warmth and charm that felt practiced but convincing. Ethan responded with polite smiles and short, well-timed compliments, feeling an unexpected thrill as the crowd responded positively to their apparent partnership. They found their seats near the front, and Ethan felt a flutter of nerves as he watched Olivia navigate conversations with investors, journalists, and prominent tech figures, each interaction reinforcing the carefully constructed image of a successful, connected couple. Throughout the evening, Ethan noticed small details about Olivia that went beyond her professional poise, the way her eyes softened when she laughed, the subtle gestures that revealed her quick wit, and the ease with which she connected with people from all walks of life. Despite the artificial nature of their arrangement, he began to sense a growing respect for her intelligence, charm, and determination, all qualities that made the challenge of pretending feel oddly rewarding. As the first hour of the gala passed, Ethan realized that the pretense of the evening was starting to blur with genuine connection, and the careful choreography of smiles and conversations created a rhythm that neither of them could ignore, laying the foundation for a story far more complex and intriguing than a simple charade. As the gala progressed, Ethan found himself increasingly immersed in the rhythm of the evening, observing the way Olivia moved effortlessly from group to group, her laughter genuine yet controlled, her conversations engaging and inclusive. He followed her lead, offering insights when appropriate, nodding attentively, and keeping pace with the subtle social cues that guided the interactions, feeling a growing sense of competence and unexpected enjoyment in the role he had been thrust into. At one point, a distinguished investor approached their table, shaking Ethan's hand firmly and complimenting his apparent professionalism, prompting a glance from Olivia that carried both approval and a hint of playful acknowledgement, as if silently praising his ability to adapt. The air of sophistication surrounding them created a sense of shared accomplishment, and Ethan felt a rare pride in how naturally their fabricated partnership was being perceived. Between formal introductions, Olivia led him to a balcony overlooking the city, where the twinkling lights below reflected the grandeur of the evening, and for a moment, the structured pretense faded into a quiet, personal exchange. Ethan found himself revealing small truths about his daily life as a single father, the joys and challenges of managing school routines and household responsibilities, and Olivia listened with a genuine curiosity that felt comforting rather than invasive. In return, she shared insights into her journey as a CEO, the relentless pressure to innovate, and the moments of doubt that accompanied leadership, allowing Ethan to see the woman behind the poised exterior. Their conversation flowed naturally, punctuated by laughter and thoughtful pauses, each moment strengthening a connection that neither had anticipated but both silently acknowledged. When they returned to the ballroom, the energy of the gala had shifted, and Ethan noticed a subtle change in the way Olivia interacted with him, her touches on his arm brief but reassuring, her smiles lingering just a fraction longer than necessary, signaling a quiet appreciation for his presence and adaptability. As the evening reached the highlight of the award ceremony, they stood together on stage to accept recognition for Olivia's company, and the crowd applauded with enthusiasm, mistaking their synergy for a long-established partnership. Ethan felt a mix of exhilaration and disbelief as he glanced at Olivia, realizing that the experience had transformed from a simple charade into a shared adventure, a test of trust and collaboration that neither had predicted. As they stepped down from the stage, Olivia leaned toward him with a wink and a whispered comment about how well he had handled the entire situation, and Ethan could not help but smile, recognizing that the pretense of the evening had unexpectedly laid the groundwork for genuine respect and curiosity, a foundation that hinted at possibilities far beyond the scripted role they had agreed to play. Throughout the remainder of the night, every interaction, every shared glance, and every synchronized movement reinforced the impression that their connection, while initially constructed for convenience, was beginning to take on the qualities of something real, subtle, and compelling, leaving both of them quietly aware that the story of this one extraordinary night was only just beginning to unfold. As the night continued, Olivia guided Ethan through a series of elegant conversations with key attendees, demonstrating the nuanced art of balancing charm with professionalism, and Ethan found himself absorbing each lesson with a mixture of concentration and admiration. They moved together seamlessly, exchanging polite laughter and thoughtful commentary, their gestures synchronized in a way that suggested a deeper understanding developing between them. During a quieter moment near the refreshments table, Ethan noticed Olivia observing a group of young entrepreneurs sharing their innovative projects, and he remarked on her keen interest and insightful questions, highlighting the depth of her expertise beyond the public persona of a CEO. Olivia smiled at his comment, appreciating his attention to detail and the way he articulated observations with clarity and sincerity, qualities that made the staged partnership feel unexpectedly genuine. As they navigated the crowd, a minor mishap occurred when a server accidentally tipped over a tray of sparkling water, and both Ethan and Olivia reacted instinctively, stepping in to assist with quick efficiency and mutual respect, their teamwork on display for those around them. The incident, while small, served as a reminder of how naturally they were beginning to coordinate, a subtle harmony that extended beyond the superficial role they had agreed to play. Later, they found themselves on the balcony again, this time overlooking the softly lit gardens of the hotel, a serene contrast to the bustling energy inside. The conversation turned to their personal ambitions, and Ethan shared anecdotes about his child, recounting small victories and challenges with a warmth that revealed the depth of his dedication, while Olivia discussed her vision for the company, the long hours, and the personal sacrifices required to achieve success, offering a glimpse into the human side of leadership. Their dialogue flowed effortlessly, punctuated by laughter and moments of thoughtful silence, each exchange reinforcing a quiet connection that had emerged organically from the evening's shared experiences. As the gala began to wind down, they returned to the main hall, where a soft spotlight illuminated the final award presentations, and Ethan noticed the way Olivia interacted with the presenters and audience members, her grace and poise captivating yet approachable, a combination that inspired confidence in those around her. During a brief interlude, Olivia leaned toward Ethan, offering a reassuring smile and a whispered observation about the subtle impact they had made on the guests, and Ethan felt a sense of pride and unexpected closeness, recognizing that the pretense of their evening had evolved into a shared achievement and mutual appreciation. Walking back toward the lobby to prepare for departure, they moved with an ease and familiarity that suggested a partnership far more comfortable than either had anticipated, and Ethan could not help but reflect on the surprising ways in which the night had shifted his perception of both Olivia and himself. By the time they reached the car, the city lights casting a soft glow over the pavement, Ethan realized that what had begun as a simple, professional arrangement had transformed into an experience filled with insight, connection, and a growing sense of genuine admiration and respect, leaving him both intrigued and eager to see how the remainder of the evening and the aftermath of their collaboration might continue to unfold. As they left the hotel and stepped into the cool night air, Ethan and Olivia shared a moment of quiet reflection, the hum of the city surrounding them with a sense of calm after the intensity of the gala. Olivia adjusted the lapel of Ethan's suit jacket with a practiced hand, a small gesture that carried a warmth and attention to detail he had begun to notice throughout the evening. They walked side by side toward the valet, their conversation light and effortless, touching on minor observations from the event and humorous anecdotes that had unfolded over the course of the night, each exchange revealing subtle layers of personality and compatibility. Ethan found himself appreciating Olivia not only for her professional acumen but also for the way she balanced confidence with humility, a combination that made the role he was playing feel surprisingly natural. Once inside the car, Olivia suggested a quiet drive through the city before returning to their respective routines, and Ethan agreed, intrigued by the prospect of extending their conversation beyond the structured environment of the gala. As the car glided through streets lined with illuminated buildings and softly glowing streetlights, they discussed their childhoods, formative experiences, and the lessons that had shaped their approach to work and life, finding unexpected common ground in their values and perspectives. The dialogue flowed smoothly, punctuated by laughter and reflective pauses, creating a sense of intimacy and connection that neither had anticipated at the beginning of the evening. Ethan noticed subtle changes in Olivia's demeanor, moments where her guard lowered just enough to reveal a genuine curiosity and warmth, and he found himself responding with equal openness, sharing details of his life as a single parent and the small victories and challenges that accompanied it. Olivia listened intently, her reactions measured yet sincere, offering insights and empathy that made the conversation feel authentic rather than performative. As they navigated familiar city streets, the conversation shifted to their goals and aspirations, each revealing ambitions that were deeply personal and meaningful, creating a sense of mutual respect and admiration. Ethan began to recognize that their partnership, initially based on a superficial pretense, had evolved into a nuanced understanding and appreciation for one another, with moments of shared vulnerability fostering trust and rapport. The drive continued with an easy rhythm, punctuated by occasional remarks on the passing scenery and light-hearted comments about the gala, reinforcing the sense of camaraderie and connection that had developed organically. By the time they approached Ethan's apartment, a quiet understanding had formed between them, a recognition that the evening had been more than a professional exercise. It had provided a rare opportunity to observe and engage with another person on multiple levels, blending humor, intellect, and empathy in a way that left both of them contemplative yet content. As they stepped out of the car, Ethan felt a renewed sense of appreciation for Olivia, not just as a leader or colleague, but as someone whose presence had enriched the experience of the evening and sparked a curiosity about the potential for deeper connection in the future, a realization that lingered as they exchanged polite yet meaningful farewells at the doorstep. The next morning, Ethan awoke to the soft glow of sunlight filtering through the blinds of his apartment, the events of the previous evening replaying vividly in his mind, each detail from the gala and the drive home surfacing with clarity and a sense of wonder at how naturally the experience had unfolded. He went about his morning routine with an unusual sense of anticipation, preparing breakfast for his child while reflecting on the subtle changes he had observed in himself during the evening, a growing confidence and appreciation for the unexpected partnership he had shared with Olivia. Shortly after dropping his child off at school, Ethan received a text message from Olivia, succinct yet warm, thanking him for his adaptability and presence, and suggesting a coffee meeting later in the week to discuss follow-up matters from the gala. He smiled, noting the casual professionalism of her message, but also detecting the underlying tone of genuine interest that had been a constant throughout the night. Throughout the day, Ethan found his mind returning to specific moments with Olivia, the shared laughter on the balcony, the way she had listened intently to his stories, and the subtle gestures of reassurance and encouragement she had provided without drawing attention to herself. At the office, his colleagues noticed a different energy about him, a calm assurance and an ease in conversation that had been less pronounced before, and Ethan realized that the experience had left an imprint not only on his perception of Olivia but also on his own self-confidence. During a mid-afternoon break, he sent a brief reply to Olivia, expressing his gratitude for her guidance and acknowledging how unexpectedly enjoyable the evening had been, careful to maintain the balance between professionalism and personal warmth. Later, as he reviewed project notes and prepared for upcoming meetings, Ethan found himself drawing on the social strategies and subtle communication cues he had observed from Olivia, applying them to his interactions with colleagues and clients with a natural fluidity that surprised him. The anticipation of the upcoming coffee meeting lingered in the back of his mind, not as a source of anxiety but as an opportunity to further explore the dynamic they had established, both in terms of professional collaboration and the nascent sense of trust and understanding that had begun to develop. By the end of the day, Ethan felt a quiet satisfaction, a recognition that the experience of the gala and the shared moments with Olivia had created a foundation for potential growth in both personal and professional realms, leaving him reflective and eager to see how the connection would evolve in the days ahead. As he prepared to leave the office, he paused to glance at the city skyline through the glass windows, the fading sunlight casting a warm glow over the streets below, and he realized that the evening had been more than a simple pretense. It had been the beginning of an unexpected journey, one that combined challenge, discovery, and a subtle but undeniable bond that promised to continue unfolding in ways neither he nor Olivia could have anticipated. When Ethan arrived at the coffee shop a few days later, the morning sun poured through the large windows, casting a warm glow over the tables and the subtle hum of conversation filling the space. Olivia was already there, seated at a corner table with her laptop open and a cup of steaming tea beside her, her posture relaxed yet attentive, eyes lighting up as she noticed Ethan approaching. He greeted her with a polite smile and a subtle nod, taking a seat across from her as they exchanged brief pleasantries before diving into the discussion about follow-up plans from the gala. The conversation began with a focus on business, analyzing potential contacts, strategies for future networking, and the nuances of maintaining professional relationships, each topic handled with precision and mutual respect. As the dialogue progressed, the atmosphere gradually shifted to a more personal tone, with Ethan sharing anecdotes about his child and Olivia recounting experiences from recent company milestones, highlighting the human side of leadership and parenthood in a way that invited empathy and connection. Their laughter punctuated the discussion naturally, easing the formality and creating an ambience that was both engaging and comfortable, a testament to the rapport that had developed over the past few days. At one point, Olivia leaned slightly forward, her hand brushing a strand of hair behind her ear, and commented on Ethan's observations, complimenting his analytical approach and the thoughtful insights he had offered, which prompted a modest smile and a quiet acknowledgement of the growing trust between them. They discussed challenges and successes candidly, sharing perspectives that revealed not only professional competence but also personal values and priorities, each revelation deepening the sense of understanding and connection. The morning progressed with a series of small exchanges, shared smiles, supportive nods, and brief moments of eye contact, that, while subtle, carried a weight of familiarity and comfort, reinforcing the idea that the partnership they had begun under unusual circumstances was evolving into a genuine, meaningful relationship. As they prepared to leave the coffee shop, Ethan felt a renewed sense of clarity about the dynamic that had formed between them, recognizing that the initial pretense had created space for authentic interactions and mutual respect to flourish. Walking out into the crisp air, Olivia suggested a brief stroll through the nearby park, and Ethan agreed, appreciating the opportunity to continue the conversation in a more relaxed setting. The sun had climbed higher, illuminating the greenery and casting playful shadows along the path, creating a serene backdrop for their exchange. They discussed future plans, both personal and professional, their dialogue weaving seamlessly between light-hearted remarks and thoughtful reflections, each participant offering insights that encouraged the other to consider new perspectives. Ethan found himself increasingly aware of Olivia's nuances, the warmth in her tone, the subtle gestures that conveyed attentiveness, and the genuine interest she displayed in his thoughts and experiences. By the time they returned to the street leading to their respective destinations, there was an unspoken acknowledgement of the evolving connection, a sense of anticipation and curiosity about the potential for this relationship to continue developing beyond the structured scenarios that had initially brought them together, leaving both Ethan and Olivia with a quiet sense of excitement and openness to whatever might unfold next. Later that evening, Ethan found himself walking through the softly lit streets of downtown, the cool breeze carrying the faint scent of coffee and blooming flowers from nearby cafes, and he could not help but reflect on the way the past week had unfolded, each interaction with Olivia layering new dimensions onto the connection they had begun to build. As he approached the entrance to a small art gallery where they had agreed to meet for a casual exhibition viewing, he noticed Olivia already waiting, her posture relaxed yet attentive, her smile warm and inviting as she waved him over. The gallery was filled with subtle lighting and quiet background music, creating an intimate atmosphere that contrasted sharply with the grandeur of the gala and the structured formality of their initial encounters. They moved through the space together, discussing the pieces on display, sharing impressions about color, composition, and the emotional resonance of various works, and Ethan realized that their conversations had developed a rhythm of mutual curiosity and respect, each observation met with thoughtful acknowledgement and genuine interest. At one point, Olivia paused before a large abstract painting, her gaze lingering on the intricate interplay of shapes and shades, and she turned to Ethan, offering insights that revealed both her analytical mind and her appreciation for creative expression, prompting him to reflect on aspects of her personality that had remained hidden beneath the professional exterior. Ethan responded with his own perspectives, drawing from personal experiences and an intuitive sense of interpretation, and Olivia listened intently, nodding and asking questions that encouraged him to elaborate further, reinforcing a sense of collaborative engagement that went beyond casual conversation. As they continued through the gallery, brief silences occurred naturally, each comfortable and unforced, allowing both to absorb the environment and the shared experience without the need for constant dialogue. Occasionally, their hands brushed as they reached for the same catalog or gestured toward a particular piece, each contact fleeting yet charged with a subtle awareness of proximity and presence. Outside, the evening had grown cooler, and the city lights reflected off the polished pavement, creating a shimmering backdrop as they stepped into the quiet streets, discussing plans for upcoming projects and personal goals, weaving professional ambition with personal anecdotes in a way that felt organic and revealing. Olivia's laughter punctuated Ethan's stories, and his own smiles became more frequent and genuine, a reflection of the comfort and enjoyment he felt in her company. By the time they reached the corner where their paths would diverge, there was a sense of shared satisfaction and anticipation for future encounters, an unspoken acknowledgement that the connection they had fostered through pretense and experience had evolved into something authentic, thoughtful, and compelling, leaving both of them quietly aware that their journey together was entering a new phase filled with potential, curiosity, and a growing mutual admiration that neither could ignore. As the evening drew to a close, Ethan and Olivia found themselves walking along the quiet riverfront, the reflections of city lights dancing on the gentle ripples of the water, creating a serene ambience that contrasted with the bustling energy of the week behind them. They talked about their plans for the weekend, sharing small details about routines, hobbies, and personal moments that had not been revealed in the structured environments of the gala or the office, each story and observation deepening their understanding of one another. Olivia mentioned an upcoming charity event her company was sponsoring, and Ethan offered to help coordinate a volunteer activity with his child, blending their worlds in a way that felt natural and considerate. The conversation flowed effortlessly, punctuated by laughter and thoughtful silences, each pause a comfortable space that allowed reflection and subtle connection without the need for forced dialogue. At a bench overlooking the water, they paused to take in the view, the cool breeze carrying a sense of calm and opportunity, and Ethan noticed how relaxed Olivia seemed, her demeanor softened from the poised, commanding presence she maintained in professional settings. He remarked on the beauty of the reflections on the water, and Olivia shared how moments like this reminded her of why she valued balance and quiet reflection amidst the intensity of her work, their words revealing layers of personal insight and mutual respect. As they stood to continue their walk, they discussed favorite books, movies, and places to visit, the exchange of personal interests building a tapestry of shared understanding and subtle compatibility. Ethan found himself appreciating the small gestures, the way Olivia listened attentively, asked thoughtful questions, and shared her own reflections with sincerity, creating an atmosphere of genuine engagement and openness. As they approached the street where they would part ways, there was a brief, unspoken pause, a moment of acknowledgement of the bond that had developed over the past week through shared experiences, professional collaboration, and increasingly personal conversations. They exchanged a warm smile, the kind that carried a mixture of familiarity, respect, and a hint of anticipation for future encounters, understanding that the connection formed between them had grown far beyond the initial pretense. Walking away in opposite directions, Ethan felt a sense of satisfaction and excitement, recognizing that the journey had not only built a professional alliance but had also sparked a meaningful personal connection, one that promised to evolve in ways neither he nor Olivia had anticipated. The night air was crisp, the sounds of the city fading into a gentle hum as they each continued along their paths, carrying with them the shared experiences, laughter, and insights that had transformed a single, orchestrated evening into the beginning of an authentic and compelling relationship filled with curiosity, mutual admiration, and the possibility of genuine companionship.